Greetings, everyone. This is Rockwell Spot Connection with the weekly comic book roundup, and we'll be moving on to this week's Spider-Man related titles and miscellaneous Marvel titles. Kicking things off with Scream, Curse of Carnage number 3. So where we left off, Andy Benton, now the host of the Scream symbiote, and formerly a host of the Mania symbiote, has been dealing with some odd symbiote-related threats. Most recently, an attack at the feast shelter that she's staying at. So the issue opens and with a flashback to times long, long ago. And Thor facing off with Grendel, the symbiote version of Grendel. However, and it crashes seemingly into that he seems to vanquish Grendel into the ground, but something survives. Grendel's mother, and so we get what ended up being the story of Beowulf. So now, after the attack at Feast, the cops are investigating, and Andy, the only survivor, is being asked what she saw. She's pretty sure that the cops won't believe her. And then one of the bodies gets back up, and something crawls out of it. So Andy jumps into the bay, basically wrapping the symbiote, with the symbiote pulling itself along around her as she does. The symbiote in the water is smart enough to form fins, webbing between fingers and toes, a fin's tail as well. But we've also got some arm fins, leg fins. Yeah, it's actually a pretty smart thing to do. Also, now her lungs are filled with amniotic fluid so that she could, breathe underwater. So she continues down, dealing with the symbiote-ish creatures. And yes, there's Grendel's there's the mother of Grendel, who wants to claim Scream as her daughter. But Scream is like, no. You're not family. However, the mother of Grendel decides, well, if you're not gonna side with me, well, meet the rest of the family then. And a bunch of quasi-symbiotic zombies go after Scream. And Null is connected to this entity. However, the quasi-symbiotic creatures do what they can to pull the symbiote off of Andy, and eventually it does work, though that's more to what the mother of Grendel is doing. And then she has a flashback to reading Flash Thompson. And then the symbiote has been stripped from her, and she's underwater. Probably drowning. And that's where the issue ends. it's kind of neat seeing the connective tissue between what's going on with all the null related stuff, as well as well, the classic story Beowulf. Moving on to Ravencroft and the Suit for the Criminally Insane, #1. So the last few weeks we've had a few Ravencroft one shots dealing with the history of the Ravencroft Institute. None of it pretty, and a lot of it connected to various other characters in the Marvel universe. And the finale revealed that among the staff would be none other than Norman Osborn. So Ravencroft has been rebuilt, state of the art, and Misty Knight, who is part of a clandestine organization, more on that later, has been inserted into the staff to be the organization's eyes and ears. John Jameson, who wanted to redeem himself, and also a member of the same organization. However, they did not want him there, so Jameson got back in through other avenues. The mayor of New York City, Wilson Fisk. So we see a group therapy session and learn that some of them actually do want to, get better. Some of them actually do want to rehabilitate. Chiefly, we get a moment with the villain known as Grizzly, who generally just goes around wearing a bear suit. He's had brief moments of mending his ways in the past. I actually recall during Secret War, Wolverine got involved, or I don't know, it wasn't Secret War, it was New Avengers. Yeah, Wolverine got involved in New Avengers because Grizzly went to the X-Men and said, "Hey, so I'm trying to stay on the straightish and narrowish, and I was approached about causing a breakout of the Raft." Osborn crashes the group therapy session, though, and there's some heated words between him and John Jameson, as well as him and Misty Knight. Apparently, the courts have ruled that he was not in control when he was the Red Goblin, or recently during the whole Absolute Carnage fiasco. Turns out, however, that the staff of the institute is being kept secret by the mayor for their protection, of course. However, John Jameson has volunteered to waive that protection and let himself be known as publicly as part of the Ravencroft staff. Later on, first off, we learn that Mr. X is present, and apparently he just impaled a guy that accidentally brushed up against the bars of his cell. Also, longtime joke character and occasional Z-list Avenger D-Man is one of the security guards, and he's actually trying to put together a softball league, guard versus cons. The idea being, something that make everyone feel normal for a few minutes. However, Mr. Hyde, there's someone very dangerous residing in cell 616. It's someone that Jameson has encountered previously. And 615 is Mr. Hyde, however, who wants Jameson to basically man Wolf out. D-Man tries to stop Hyde, but tosses something like a rag doll. However, Misty's able to take him out with the right cross and knock out one of his teeth, too. And it seems the unwanted are still around and watching. And there's something down there that has gathered them to him. Whatever. Is this the thing that Fisk supposedly saw? Maybe. And then the staff is introduced. Tony Masters, better known as Taskmaster. Matt Gargan, generally known as the Scorpion, briefly known as Venom. Dr. Carl Selfin, known alternately as Moonstone and Meteorite. And finally, Roderick Kingsley, the Hobgoblin. Now, okay, I'll be honest. Yes, that's 4 supervillains plus the Kingpin of Crime running the Ravencroft Institute. Of these 4, one of them is actually not a bad pick in the slightest. Taskmaster. If he's paid to act a certain way, he will behave that certain way. He's a mercenary. It's all about the money to him. If he's being paid to behave, then he'll behave. And with the wealth of fighting knowledge he has, he'd actually be really good in security against a lot of the inmates, as he's taken on and bested a lot of the heroes who have also bested the inmates. Moonstone, okay, Moonstone's not the best pick. She is a psychiatrist. She's also not the worst. I figure that as she's being brought in as Dr. Carlos Sulfan and not as Moonstone, she'd actually be eager to prove that, hey, look, I'm still a good shrink. However, Matt Gargan, he was a crooked private dick who then got a power armor suit built, given to him, and drove him nuts, and then went even crazier when he had an alien symbiote run around in his head. Roderick Kingsley, there's no redeeming factor of the Hobgoblin. He's the friggin' Hobgoblin. I mean, okay, sure, the Hobgoblin never chucked the woman Spider-Man loved off of a bridge. No, that's just one of the other staff members that did that. But yeah, obviously this is supposed to be a pressure cooker that's going to blow, and it's going to blow bad. And that, however, is where the issue ends. Next up we've got Jessica Jones, Blind Spot, number 2. Now, where we left off in Blind Spot number 1, a former client of Jessica's was found murdered in Jessica's office. Jessica began looking back into the case. It made, at least, if anything, information on who to help find information on who may have killed the girl. Also, a lot of this was being told by a flashback, as someone has kidnapped Jess. And the first issue ended with Jess being shot in the head in her office. So we start off with, Jess having been, Jess has been kidnapped, chained to a chair, and wearing an old Captain Marvel costume. Threatening her kidnapper. But she also asks for a masseuse because her neck is kind of cramping up. And maybe a new chef, so, because she hasn't been fed, so obviously they need a new chef. So going back to Sunday, 3:18 p.m. at Mount Sinai Hospital, Luke Cage is sitting next to Jessica's bed. She comes to. And she's now quite curious as just how the hell she survived getting, shot in the friggin' head. Also, like, half the superhero community is waiting just outside. And I can't say I like the way the artist on this draws Captain Marvel. It just doesn't look right. But, yeah. So, Jessica does ask Captain Marvel for a favor, being that Captain Marvel is super fancy Captain Marvel. Can she get Jess the bullet that, shot her? So Monday morning, she checks out of the hospital. The doctor pretty much says he needs to move somewhere where that doesn't have superheroes. Jessica talks Luke into letting her take care of this, and so he can, and basically, hey, keep our daughter safe. Meanwhile, Jess goes to Sanctum Sanctorum of Doctor Strange. It's 10 minutes before 10 in the morning, and he's a grumpy magical bastard. She wants to know, is the bullet magic? Is that why she's still alive? Says the bullet's just a regular bullet, but there's something going on with her. Not exactly magic, but she's been touched by something recently. And apparently, it's all over her. And then she's trying to get find further information on the former client. Misty Knight comes to see her. And remember how I mentioned in Ravencroft that she's part of a hush-hush organization? Well, that organization is called the ACD. Aberrant Crime Division. Kind of there's no shield. She wants to make sure that she's at least involved in whoever's filling the vacuum that shield left. So they kind of had their little back and forth, The cop in the private eye, the cop saying, this is... The cop's supposed to have, say, hey, back off, this is our gig, not yours. Private eye saying, I'm totally not going to back off. And so the cop then kind of, okay, fine, well, let's share information. And so Jess explains, the client was Dia Sloan, ex-boyfriend was Jared Beekman. Gives Misty last known addresses for both, but apparently Jess isn't the first woman with powers to get shot in the last week. Apparently, White Rabbit and Skane appear to be permanently dead. Jess is so far the only one that actually got back up. And the two of them get a notification, and apparently Elsa Bloodstone's been found dead. And so Jessica Jones starts calling around, starting first with figuring, I don't have figuring if anything she can get Nika Minoru's phone number. So she calls Kate Bishop. Kate doesn't have it, but Kate does have Carolina Dean's phone number. And it takes some doing. Just hey, this is about what happened. This is about Elsa Bloodstone. So she gets a number, calls Nico, and it's like, okay, well, here's where she's staying. And Nico's like, is Elsa okay? And Jessica's not sure. So she goes to check the place out in Midtown. It's a place in Midtown Manhattan. She's checking around and gets smacked in the face with a base by Elsa Bloodstone, who is potentially convinced that at the moment that Jessica Jones is in on what's going on as well. So that's where the issue ends. As also Bloodstone's alive and well, it leads me to believe that Skane and White Rabbit are as well. Especially seeing as how White Rabbit has factored into recent Spider-Man comic books. Anyways, last book for the video, Doctor Strange, The End. And just there is a third The End title this week as well. It's in the Avengers. It'll be in the Avengers video. All right, so we start off. An elderly Doctor Strange is dealing with an AI assistant, and he's made a projection of an apple, but she can't interact with it because magic and tech. So apparently, though, he's turned the sanctum into a magical tchotchke, little magical shop. And some kids come in, start giving him grief. Apparently, he was found recently, found and videoed recently with the video posted online. Tarot reading is done, but then then when everyone tries to, when the kids try to rob him, well, yeah, they get kicked out and scared out of and probably scared to the point of filling their pants with shit. They're trying to figure out what to do, and turns out that Strange's powers are waning. He is apparently the last living mystic on Earth. Or, well, he's the last of the mystics on Earth. At least that are viable. And so, he takes the cabinet, which has his a statue to Wong inside of it, and he goes on a journey to the graveyard where all the other mystics are buried, digging up bones of them and putting them in the cabinet with Wong's statue, and then using it as apparently, as we learn that Scarlet Witch died of cancer. Before that happened, however, Strange, various others basically combined everything they had and hid it. But he's got to basically, to keep the lights on, he's going to have to put in the remains of bones from all the other mystics. That's still not enough. So he throws the statue of Wong in there. Still, though, not enough to really keep things going. And so, Strange himself jumps in, using his last earthly moments to keep the mystic fires going. And it reawakens magic a little bit on the Earth. And elsewhere in space, Ilyana Rasputin is brought before eternity, infinity, it's weird. There is a third one, but I can't remember. I don't. To that group, but yeah. But she's given the Eye of Agamotto, and I'm guessing the Staff of One. She returns to Earth, makes her way to what was the Sanctum. Only now it's the Rasputina Academy of Magic and Sorcery. And the woman running the place refers to Ileana as, of course, Headmistress Sorceress Supreme. There's now a statue of Doctor Strange back in there. And she lights an everlasting flame for him and says as she walks off, well, he's going to be a noisy spirit, isn't he? That's where the issue ends. That's it for this video. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.